My sister called at 3 a.m., screaming that her son needed emergency brain surgery. I canceled my $8,000 honeymoon and flew home immediately. But when I arrived, I found my 4-year-old nephew alone, surrounded by empty cereal bowls. She'd been partying in Vegas the whole time. Eli's been hit by a drunk driver. They airlifted him to County General for emergency brain surgery. I need you, please, Claire, please come home. My sister Sierra's voice was hysterical, sobbing, screaming, barely coherent through the phone at 3:47 a.m. I was in Santorini. First night of my honeymoon. 2 years of saving every single penny, $8,000 total. The trip of a lifetime with my husband Caleb. But my nephew, my 4-year-old nephew who I'd practically raised, was in surgery. Dying, maybe already dead. We're coming, I said, hand shaking. We're getting the next flight. Stay strong. We're coming. Caleb was already packing, throwing clothes into suitcases, calling airlines, begging for emergency seats. Any flight, any route, any price. We watched $8,000 vanish. The honeymoon, the hotels, the tours, everything non-refundable. Everything gone. But Eli was dying. Nothing else mattered. 18 hours later, 3 flights, 2 layovers, no sleep. We landed in Phoenix. Exhausted, terrified, broken. I called Sierra from the airport. We just landed. Which hospital? County General? Yeah, she said. Voice flat now. Tired. County General. Something felt wrong. Off. But I was too exhausted to process it. We took an Uber straight to the hospital. Emergency room. Intensive care. Pediatric trauma unit. We're looking for Eli Matthews. I told the nurse. 4 years old. Hit by a drunk driver. Emergency brain surgery. She checked her computer. Frowned. I don't show any pediatric trauma patients by that name. Check again, please. He was airlifted here yesterday. She checked, rechecked, called someone. Ma'am, we haven't had any pediatric trauma admissions in the last 72 hours. My stomach dropped. We called 6 other hospitals. Nothing. No Eli Matthews. No 4-year-old trauma patient. Nothing. Maybe she gave you the wrong hospital, Caleb said. Maybe she was confused. Call her. I called Sierra. Voicemail. Called again. Voicemail. 5 more times. Nothing. I'm Claire. 29 years old. Marketing manager. Married to Caleb for 6 months but together for 4 years. No children of my own yet, but I'd practically raised Eli since he was born. My sister Sierra is 32, single mother, struggled with severe postpartum depression after Eli was born. I should have seen it coming. All the signs were there. When Eli was born, Sierra seemed obsessed at first. Helicopter parenting. Never put him down. Never let anyone else hold him. But then something shifted. On Eli's 4th birthday 3 months ago, she called me crying hysterically. Said she wanted to drop him at a fire station. Said she couldn't do it anymore. Said she made a mistake having him. Instead of confronting her, instead of calling someone, instead of getting help, I offered to babysit more. Take the pressure off. Give her breaks. It started with 1 weekend a month, then every weekend, then weeknights, then almost every evening. Eli became like the son I never had. I helped with homework, took him to the park, made him dinner, tucked him in, read him bedtime stories. Sierra partied, dated, lived her life, while I raised her son. Last month, Sierra asked me to watch Eli for a long weekend. Her friend's bachelorette party in Vegas. 4 days. But Caleb had planned our honeymoon for those exact dates. Booked it a year in advance, saved for 2 years. Given Sierra 4 months notice that we'd be unavailable. I said no. For the first time ever, I said no. She laughed it off. No problem. I'll find someone else. Have an amazing trip. Too easy. Sierra never took no that easily. But I was too excited about the honeymoon to question it. I should have known. We drove to Sierra's apartment, 20 minutes from the hospital. Used the spare key she'd given me for emergencies. Opened the door. Found Eli sitting on the couch. Alive. Completely uninjured. Playing on his tablet. Surrounded by empty cereal bowls. Crushed crackers on the floor. Juice stains on the cushions. Eli. I ran to him. Grabbed him. Held him. Are you okay? Are you hurt? I'm fine. Aunt Claire. Confused. Why are you crying? Your mom said you were in an accident. That you were hurt. I'm not hurt. Caleb was checking the apartment. Kitchen. Bedrooms. Bathroom. Claire. She's not here. Sierra's not here. Where's your mommy? I asked Eli. Trying to stay calm. Trying not to scare him. She left 3 days ago. Said she was going on a trip. Said you'd be back from vacation soon to take care of me like always. 3 days. 3 days alone. A 4-year-old child alone for 3 days. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Not panic. Something else. Something harder. I called Sierra from her landline. She answered on the 4th ring. Music blaring in the background. Loud music. Party music. California Girls by Katy Perry. What's up? She slurred. Drunk. Very drunk. Where are you? Vegas. Obviously. At the pool party. It's amazing here. You should see. You told me Eli was in emergency brain surgery. Silence. Then laughter. Actual laughter. Oh my god. I knew that would work. I knew if I made it sound serious enough, you'd come back. You were being so extra about your honeymoon. So selfish. Must be nice having money to waste on vacations while single moms struggle. My hand tightened on the phone. You lied about Eli being hurt so I'd cancel my honeymoon? It worked, didn't it? More laughter. Music getting louder. Relax. He's fine. You're there now. Problem solved. Behind me, Eli's small voice. Aunt Aunt Claire, can I live with you? Mom doesn't want me anymore. Sierra heard. Her tone turned venomous. Ice cold. You're turning my son against me. You've been doing it for months. Trying to replace me. Trying to steal him. I hung up, looked at Caleb, at Eli sitting on the couch with his tablet and his empty cereal bowls. Call child services, I said. Right now. The social worker came the next morning. Young woman, mid-30s, tired eyes. Took photos, took notes, interviewed Eli gently. How long were you alone, sweetie? 3 days. Mommy left on Friday. Said Aunt Claire would come soon. Did you have food? Cereal, and crackers, and juice boxes. Were you scared? He nodded. Small nod. At night, it's dark and loud. The social worker took me aside. This is neglect. Clear case. But I need to be honest with you, the system heavily favors keeping families together, especially with biological mothers. Unless there's evidence of direct abuse, they'll likely give her custody back with mandatory parenting classes. She abandoned him for 3 days to party in Vegas. I know, and that matters. But she'll claim it was a misunderstanding, that she thought you were watching him, that it was miscommunication. Judges have heard every excuse. They're hesitant to permanently remove children unless there's ongoing, documented abuse. So she gets away with it? I didn't say that. I'm saying this is a process. Document everything, keep records, be patient. I wasn't feeling patient. 3 days later, Sierra showed up at our house, 2 a.m., drunk, pounding on the door, screaming, "Give me my son. You stole my son. I'll call the police." We called the police first. They arrived while she was still screaming on our lawn. When they tried to calm her down, she swung at one of them. They arrested her for public intoxication and assault on an officer. Eli watched through the window. "I don't want to go back," he whispered. The police asked him directly, "Do you want to go with your mom?" He shook his head. "I want to stay here." They let him stay. Temporary protective custody. But warned us Sierra would likely be released in the morning and could petition for custody immediately. She did. Her brother Derek, a lawyer, sleazy personal injury type, filed emergency custody papers within 24 hours. At the hearing, Derek submitted my old medical records from 5 years ago when I dealt with depression after a miscarriage. Called me mentally unstable and unfit to care for children. Sierra cried beautifully. Oscar-worthy performance. Claimed I'd always been jealous of her motherhood. That I'd been trying to steal Eli since he was born. That I'd manipulated this entire situation. But then the social worker testified. About finding Eli alone. About the empty cereal bowls. About the 3-day abandonment. Derek pivoted. Called a witness, some guy named Travis, who claimed he'd seen me give Eli beer at a barbecue. Complete fiction. Total lie. I'd never even met Travis. My lawyer Miles, a friend from college who did family law, tore him apart on cross-examination. Proved Travis had a criminal record. Proved he owed Derek money. Proved he'd never been to my house. But the damage was done. The judge granted Sierra temporary custody with supervised visitation for me. I had 2 hours to pack Eli's things. His clothes, his toys, his stuffed elephant he'd slept with since birth. He cried, begged, "Please don't make me go. Please, Aunt Claire." I held him. "I'm fighting for you. I promise. This isn't over." But watching him leave with Sierra felt like my heart being ripped out. 1 week later, midnight, doorbell rang. Caleb answered. Called for me immediately, voice shaking. Eli stood on our porch, pajamas, bare feet, backpack, black eye, swollen, purple. "Mommy's new friend Logan hit me," he whispered. "I walked here. I remembered the way. 8 blocks, in the dark, a 4-year-old navigating 8 blocks alone at midnight." We called 911 immediately. EMTs came, examined him, found more bruises, finger marks on his arms, a boot print, an actual boot print on his back. We filed an emergency petition that morning. Judge ordered an immediate hearing. Sierra showed up with Logan, both of them screaming, threatening, making a scene in the courthouse hallway. Security intervened. One of the officers recognized Logan, had arrested him twice for domestic violence, had a restraining order from 2 different ex-girlfriends. When Sierra started throwing things in the hallway, they arrested her. Again, at the emergency hearing, Eli testified. Simple, honest. "Logan hit me because I spilled juice. Mommy didn't stop him. She said I deserved it." Even Derek couldn't shake his testimony, couldn't make him change his story. The judge granted us temporary custody, banned Logan completely from any contact, ordered supervised visitation for Sierra with a professional monitor. We thought we'd won. Finally, Eli was safe. But Sierra appealed, filed motions, drew it out, and things got worse. Someone loosened the lug nuts on my car. All 4 wheels. Caleb caught it during a routine oil change. Could have killed us. Anonymous calls to my workplace claiming I was embezzling. I was placed on administrative leave while they investigated. All false. All traced back to a burner phone. We hired a private investigator, Marcus, retired detective, specialized in family court cases. He discovered something we'd never suspected. Sierra had been collecting disability benefits for Eli, claiming he had severe autism, nonverbal, needed full-time care, collecting $1,400 per month for 3 years, over $50,000 total. But Eli wasn't autistic, wasn't disabled, was completely normal, brilliant, even. She'd been committing fraud, federal fraud. Marcus dug deeper, found she'd done this before, with her ex-boyfriend 2 years ago, weaponized custody of his dog, claimed abuse, got the dog removed, then sold it for $3,000. pattern of behavior, pattern of manipulation, pattern of using people, children, animals, anyone for money and control. At the final hearing, everything came out. The fraud, the fake disability claims, the history of manipulation, the boyfriend with the assault record, the abandoned child, everything. Sierra's lawyer tried to fight it, claimed the evidence was inadmissible, claimed we'd invaded her privacy. The judge shut him down. This court's primary concern is the welfare of the child, and based on everything I've seen, this child is not safe with his biological mother. Terminated Sierra's parental rights, completely, permanently, no visitation, no contact, approved our adoption petition immediately, emergency approval. Eli became our son, legally, permanently, forever. 2 months later, Eli wore a little gray suit to the adoption finalization hearing. Looked so grown up, so serious. When the judge declared him officially ours, Eli Matthews Porter, our son, he jumped into our arms. I have a real family now, a mom and dad who want me. Sierra sacrificed her son for a party, for a lie, for manipulation and money, but Eli gained parents who'd sacrifice anything for him. The silence isn't empty anymore. It's filled with Eli's laughter, with bedtime stories, with homework help, with soccer practice, with a childhood he deserves, and that's worth more than any honeymoon we could have taken.